long story short, when I got the opportunity to start my own business back in 2003, I was so thrilled because I knew it could be something I could build to leave a legacy to my children and my children's children.
Welcome to Be a Baller, where we discuss how to build a lifelong legacy. I'm your host, Coach Tim Brown. Today we'll be talking about building a legacy in sports with OSU basketball great Ronnie Stokes, who's also on OSU Radio and 97.1 The Fan. Today on the show, Ronnie will share about his over 25 years as OSU men's basketball color analyst in sports and also his family business values. Ronnie, welcome to Be a Baller podcast.
Glad to be here, Tim. Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, I'm from the Cleveland area, went to East Cleveland Shaw High School, and I know you grew up in Canton, Ohio, which is home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Did you grow up playing football?
No, my mom wouldn't let me play football. She was very overprotective, and for a good reason. She wanted to make sure you took care of her kids, and she didn't let me play football. But I obviously drove by the Hall of Fame many times and saw its evolution to where it is today. But proud of my city, where I was born and raised, Canton, Ohio.
Now, where are you at in that birth order?
My mom and dad were both married twice, so we were like the Brady Bunch, if you will. She brought 3 children from her previous marriage, and then he brought 5, and then there was 4 that they had together, and I was one of those 4. So it's 13 of us, and so 12 of us, and so it was a bunch, and out of that I was I was 3rd from the last. Yeah, so big family, but I love it though. A lot of siblings, so I love it.
A lot of athletes in the family, a lot of competition.
Yeah, my brother was, my older brothers were wrestlers, and they tried to get me to wrestle, but I didn't like it. I remember my first wrestling match, some guy, my face went in some guy's armpit, and I said, this isn't for me. I stopped. But they were really, really good at what they do. In fact, one of my brothers made it to the States in wrestling, and I really admired him, and he kind of helped me to understand to have excellence in whatever I did athletically.
That's good. Yeah, I understand there was a park growing up in Canton called Highland Park where you started playing basketball at 5. Can you tell the audience about back in the day going to the park and watching other guys playing and dreaming of the day you would be able to get on court 1?
Yeah, the game has changed so much in terms of what kids do to play. I mean, you drive around now, you rarely do you see anybody playing outside. Everything's indoor or structured where you go and you get lessons and whatever. Back then, you would call your guys and say, "Hey, where's the game at today? Where the talent is?" And then typically it was in this park called Highland Park, and you would go up there, and as a youngster, you had to earn the right to get on the court because it was the older guys, as we call them, the old heads out there playing. And it was so stacked in terms on the sidelines that, you'd be 3 deep before you would even get on if you were asked to play. And then if you did play and you lost, you wouldn't get back on probably for that whole day. So it was very competitive. And it was interesting, that journey for me, because I had to learn how to be an asset once I got on the court.
There's a story about you in junior high school, only being 5'9", that you began playing above the rim.
Yeah.
What was that like in junior high, playing above the rim?
Well, I mean, I had God-given ability. For whatever reason, I could get out there and I could run fast, jump high, and I was blessed with intelligence, where I thought I was a pretty intelligent, high IQ basketball player as well. But you had to do things to earn your right on the court, right? So I would work hard. Use my athleticism, which I had jumping ability, and I try to be a smart player. But yeah, when I was younger, I think one of my gym teachers said, "Hey, Ron, I couldn't dunk a basketball at first, so he said start with a tennis ball." And then I went up and I dunked it with a tennis ball, and then I gradually got up to the point where I could dunk as a 9th grader with a real basketball at whatever age I was at the time.
Yeah. What was that feeling with that first dunk in the game?
It was thrilling. It was thrilling because it was a breakaway, and I got it. I was excited, and then I never looked back after that. So I said, I can do this anytime.
Hey there, Clark Kellogg here. Building a legacy usually involves meeting the unique needs of others and being part of something bigger than yourself. That's why I love First Merchants Bank. First Merchants believes that helping communities prosper means more than just providing banking services. It means offering accessible financial education, expanded access to home ownership, and partnerships with local nonprofits to help raise up neighborhoods and lift families out of financial hardship. For resources and tools available to you, visit www.firstmerchants.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You went to Canton McKinley High School, which is a storied basketball program, athletic program in the state of Ohio. Can you talk about your high school career at Canton McKinley?
Yeah, you're right, man. There's some incredible legends there. I mean, a guy like Phil Hubbard, who went to Michigan, went to a Final Four there. He was an Olympian. And so many, Eric Snow, who went to Michigan State, played in the NBA with the Cavaliers. Gary Grant, who went to McKinley, played in the league many, many years. There's so many incredible players. And so as a young kid growing up, I just wanted to be part of that history and so forth. So that was my school. I loved it. And just relish the fact that one day I would be able to wear the red and black.
You and your high school and college teammate, Troy Taylor, you guys played on an undefeated regular season team, your senior year. Yeah. How much fun was that, and the friendships you and Troy had doing, being that dynamic duo? Yeah.
We became teammates. We were rivals in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. We played against each other in elementary school. And then in middle school, as a 7th grader, that's when we became teammates. And never lost a game as a 7th grader, 8th grader, 9th grader. And fortunately, we were very successful, but unfortunately, we never was able to win the championship. We always got beat in the regionals. That was one of my biggest regrets as an athlete in high school, is that, we had talent. Troy and I were decent players. He was really good, and we were not able to overcome him. We were undefeated, number 1 ranked in the state, top 20 in the country, but we was not good enough to win enough to get to the state and win the whole thing. But it was an incredible time developing relationships, not only with him, but my other teammates.
I know there are two things that are very important to you, and that's your faith and your family. First off, can you talk about your faith?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I didn't go to church as a young kid. I knew there was a God. I believed that there was one, but I just didn't go to church. And then, once I graduated from high school, from college, and then I became a husband and then a father, I knew that there was something missing in terms of me being a man. And then I'll never forget this. I went to a church called Columbus Christian Center. Pastor David Forbes was there. And I tell him this story today. When I first went to his church, the very first time, I thought everybody else was not there. He was just talking to me. He was telling me things that I knew I needed to hear. And from that point on, it changed my entire life. So I never looked back from then. That was back in 1992.
Now let's get to the good stuff. Let's go to your storybook romance with your Allen Elementary School friend and now wife, Levita. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's a blessing. I'll be 61 in February here coming up. And I've known this incredible person for 55 out of my 61 years. I met her when I was in kindergarten. Then, we were friends, rivals, whatever. We picked on each other because I guess we liked each other. Yeah. And then we started dating in high school. But she's just an awesome human being. And I just thank God every day that I met her and she's been in my life. She's my rock. And but yeah, she and I we dated in high school, and then we got married a couple years after I graduated from college, and 4 beautiful children. And we're just excited about life. 3 grandchildren and 1 on the way.
Awesome. After your playing career, you began a successful career as an OU men's basketball color. For now, we're 27 seasons. Yeah. How did you get into broadcasting, and what has kept you behind that mic?
Yeah, I mean, one of the unbelievable opportunities at The Ohio State University is that because has a storied football program and a great basketball history, and being in a city like Columbus, they basically treat the athletes like pro athletes. I mean, the media coverage is unbelievable. And so you have to understand how to articulate your thoughts, because you're going to get interviewed, whether it's radio or TV. And I always embraced that and loved being able to talk about basketball. And, I would, for whatever reason, I had the ability to remember how many points everybody scored, how many rebounds. I would scout the other opponent, although it was limited. Back then, we didn't have the internet. Right. But I loved it. And because of that, Tim, you basically had to get in front of a camera or in front of a mic. And after I graduated from Ohio State, the news stations would call me to get my thoughts because I was able to communicate effectively. And then that led to one thing. And then I was asked to do pre and post game for 1 year. And then after that, I was asked to be the color analyst and loved every year for the past 27 years.
You've been blessed to have a front row seat for a lot of big games, for a lot of any game. I know there's been so many. I won't put you on the spot. Any of them jump out at you? Well,
I think the marquee game. I think about Thad Matta's first was one of his incredible wins here is when facing Illinois. They were number one in the country, undefeated, playing in Columbus, Ohio. We knew we were not going to the tournament because of a self-imposed restriction that we couldn't go to postseason. And everyone thought Illinois was going to win, except for our team. Right. And that shot by Matt Sylvester to win. And that kind of changed everything. Daquan Cook was in the crowd that game. Right. And, obviously we know Daquan Cook and Michael Conley and Greg Oden came in. But that game in particular was one. And then my first Final Four, where with Scooney Penn and Michael Redd, when they won in the regionals, when they beat St. John's, and Ron Artest was on that team, going to the Final Four and broadcasting my first Final Four was a thrill.
As you think about your broadcasting career, who have been some of your mentors?
Well, one of my former teammates, Clark Kellogg, he is the best of the best in what he does. He is clearly the best. And I marvel at that. When you think about college football and college basketball, the two marquee names are Buckeyes, Clark Kellogg and Kirk Herbstreit. Wow. Think about that. Wow. And I think that lends itself to the fact that my point I made earlier about you are exposed to top level of excellence that you have to develop to be able to talk as an athlete. You are going to be interviewed if you're an Ohio State basketball player, football player. But so Clark has been one, and even Herbstreit when he was here with 97.1 The Fan, it was WBNS 1460 back in the day. But those two guys really helped my career. Would encourage me, and still today, I talk to Clark a lot.
Off the court and away from the mic, you're a successful businessman in Columbus, and your entire family works in the business with you and your wife. Talk about that blessing and that experience, having your whole family working together.
Yeah, man, Tim, I'm so proud about that. My dad was a laborer. He was in the construction business and was 6th grade educated, so he did the best he could. And he exposed me to things, loved me and supported me and taught me how to work. And then when I went to Ohio State, I was exposed to a couple things. I was exposed to knowledge from my education. I was exposed to access. I was mentored by some incredible people. And I worked for a subsidiary of the Columbus Dispatch for many years where I kind of cut my teeth in learning the print and marketing business. But I always desired to own my own company. And I jokingly say this, dating myself a little bit. There was a show called The Jeffersons, and the guy who kind of led the show owned his own dry cleaning company. And I said, man, he owns his own business. So long story short, when I got the opportunity to start my own business back in 2003, I was so thrilled because I knew it could be something I could build to leave a legacy to my children and my children's children. So excited about having several companies today. Marketing, printing, warehouse and fulfillment is one of them. And then I also have a commercial painting and real estate company.
Do you have your George Jefferson dance down?
No, I'm not much of a dancer. But that was always the fun part of the show. Seeing George Jefferson doing his thing. That walk that he had, too.
Oh, yeah, he had that.
A bad man walk. Man walk. Yep.
The team at the Financial Solutions Network is proud to partner with Tim Brown and bring you this episode of Be a Baller. Our mission is to share generously of our time, talent, and financial resources to help our clients develop financial plans and wealth management strategies that allow them to live the lives they imagine, while connecting them with experiences and people that enhance their quality of life. FCA is one of those organizations by helping young men and women through the development of their personal faith. The Financial Solutions Network is an independently owned and managed wealth advisory firm based in Worthington, Ohio. We are a multi-generational professional team of advisors with a combined 83 years of experience teaching and managing financial strategies for individuals, families, businesses, and institutions. We will be honored to help you plan your financial journey. Contact us at 614-505-3025 or visit our website at tfsn.net.
You know, you kind of spoke about this just a minute about legacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a legacy podcast about building a legacy. What would you say? What's the legacy of Ronnie Stokes? What does that word mean to you?
Well, when you think about, I go back to when I realized what it really means to be a man of God is that there's certain responsibilities that you have, not just being the financial leader, but being the spiritual leader of your household. And part of that is a financial one with that, and being able to leave your family something when you leave this earth. And so that was very important to me. So I wanted to acquire assets and things that my kids can learn from and also can hang on to develop if they so desire. So, you know, the one company that I have is called Lars LLC, and each initial stands for my children. L for Laurel, A for Amber, R for Ron Jr., and then S for Sydney. And each of them have a piece of the company, and each of them work within the company along with my wife. And I tell you, Tim, there's no better joy. My son is in there like 150%. My other kids are not in there as much, but the joy of me working with him every day. And teaching him how to be successful, I can't put a price on that, bro. I cannot.
What a blessing. What a blessing.
It's a blessing.
You know, as we wrap up and we begin talking about legacy, you and a group of guys from Canton every year do a project during holiday time, giving back to the community. Can you talk about why that project is so important to you?
Wow. Ray Ellis is a guy who kind of mentored me when he played at Canton McKinley, and then he went on to Ohio State, was part of a very good team, and then he played in the NFL, went to the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, also played with the Cleveland Browns. He called me up one day and said, "Hey, Ron, I think we need to do something in our hometown. We need to do something to give back." Myself, along with Troy Taylor, Phil Hubbard, and a bunch of other former Kentonians and Bulldogs, we basically said we're going to do something. So this year is our 4th year that every December we help raise money. We give our time and effort and our own money. We feed a minimum of 1,000 families. We give them turkeys, food boxes, and other things. And I tell you, Tim, when you're sitting there, you see a line that's 2 miles long of people who need that food, and you're giving them that box, man. I that emotion, like I'm feeling it right now. It's like it's a blessing to be able to be a blessing to other people. And so my mom and dad taught me that as a kid. So I'm so thrilled that I'm in a position to help others. So we're honored. We're looking forward to continue to do it. We got great support from the city of Canton, companies like Giant Eagle. It's just a blessing that we're helping the community.
Well, Ronnie, as we wrap up, I want to thank you for just being an example. Of a, you know, sometimes, you know, people talk about athletes and what they don't do, which is what we always hear. But they miss what athletes are doing with their influence, with their time, talent, and treasure. And then another thing I want to thank you for is being a family man.
Thank you.
You know, being that example, what a godly man looks like. You know, that story, you and your wife and all the years you guys have been together, and your children and grandchildren. What a legacy. What a legacy. You know, in our family, I call it the Brown Nation.
Oh, man, I love it. I love it.
You guys, so I'm proclaiming today, you guys are the Stokes Nation.
Hey, man,
you know,
I love
family,
it.
You are a nation.
I received that, brother. I received that, and we'll plant that and grow it. I love it.
You got it. This brings us into this episode. Thanks to our special guest, Ronnie Stokes, for sharing his sports journey and business journey with us today. We want to recognize that Ronnie, you can listen to him on OSU Radio and 97.1 The Fan.
Yep.
Make sure you catch an Ohio State game.
Yes, sir.
Listen to the voice. I know Paul Keels is the voice, but you the voice because you've been around a little longer. So, Ronnie, thanks for being on the show. As always, I want to thank our audience for listening to this enlightening and informed discussion on how to build a legacy in sports. Hope this episode was beneficial to you. As always, continue to be a baller.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share this podcast with family and friends. Be a Baller podcast is available on all major podcast stations. Be sure to come back next week as we continue to discuss on how to build a lifelong legacy. Until then, don't forget to be a baller. This podcast was created by Coach Tim Brown. It was edited by Teron Howe and produced and recorded by the video production class of Worthington Christian High School.